Well, good afternoon and good evening, race fans. This is Mike Babicz, your host and the voice of the Wilmot Raceway and other area racing from time to time, and the host of the Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report, airing here on 21.6 The Net. We want to thank, of course, all of our great marketing partners that help us get on the air each and every week. John Hatterline, attorney at law, Force One Performance Parts, B&L Office Furniture. We're going to have Scott Carpenter is going to be our first guest shortly. Great Lakes Dragaway. Of course, we'll have John on with a Great Lakes Dragaway report. Steve Sinclair and the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Car Series, as well as IRA in general. And Steve's going to be on in the second part of this evening's program, giving us a report on events at Knoxville Raceway last weekend, Knoxville, Iowa, where, of course, the sprint car capital of the world and where the Nationals were held last week. And, of course, we also want to thank Wilmot Raceway racing tonight. That's right, tonight, the Kenosha County Fair beginning. It's getting underway as we speak throughout the day today, and it'll go through Sunday on the 18th of August. Tonight, we're going to have the Lift Pro, powered by Gandrud Chevrolet, Hefner Racing Products Winged Series for the 604 Crate Wing Sprint Cars. We're also going to have the IMCA Modifieds, the Unified Street Stocks, and the B&L Office Furniture powered by American Tire and Auto Repair of Kenosha and Lindenhurst, Illinois. Bandits, those are all in action tonight at the Wilmot Raceway. Free grandstand for the racing event tonight, included in your fair admission ticket. So can't beat that deal. And then this coming Saturday at Wilmot, it'll be the annual Kenosha County Fair Roger Isles Tribute, featuring the Bumper to Bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Cars, the Wisconsin Autometer powered by Gandrud Performance and Wilmot Raceway Catalyst Exhibits Wingless Sprint Cars, and the 1175 Sports Complex IRA Lightning Sprints. Also, some more of our marketing partners, of course, Fox Lake Harbor, Culver's of Paddock Lake, Lake County Honor Flight, Northern Illinois Council on Alcoholism and Substance Abuse, and they're going to have a lot of fun on August the 25th, I believe it is. No, the 23rd. The 23rd. No, the 25th. 7 days added on the 18 is 25. Never did well in math. That'll be a week from this coming Sunday. They're going to have their pickleball event. Also, A-Main Apparel and Diecast and Bill Fusting and Lake County Hose and Equipment. Fox Lake Harbor. Also want to thank, of course, 5-Star Race Car Bodies. If you're looking for a job in motorsports, contact Daniel Sanchez and the fine crew at 5-Star Race Car Bodies. Nielsen Enterprises, a Libertyville Manor, Generations of Care, and Young at Heart Preschool and Daycare Program in Libertyville. Also, Richmond Hunt Club, or actually the Hunt Club of Richmond. And we're going to be at the Hunt Club of Richmond on Wednesday, September 11th. Mark that on your calendar. We want people to bring their street cars, people to bring their race cars, and we're going to be on live from the Hunt Club of Richmond, just off of Route 173 as you're entering Richmond from the east side of town, and that will be on Wednesday, September the 11th. Also, Midwest Motor Coach and Olson Transportation, they'll be racing. Rob's son, Robbie, will be racing tonight, and Rob might be on the track as well in the street stocks at Wilmot. MLS Auto Clinic, Eddie and Debbie Boyd. Impressions Count, Randy and his fine crew. Weeby Waxen, Chad, they do a great job, and they also have inside storage available. Yeah, it's time to start thinking about that coming up. If you want to, store your vehicle or your boat, contact them. They can also help you winterize them. Bodycraft, of course, Mark and Tony Maglio, always great supporters of motorsports in general. They provide the pace truck at Wilmot Raceway, along with M3 Custom Graphics, or Custom Creations, M3 Custom Creations. Buddies of McHenry, Sean and his crew, they have great breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we mentioned Culvers of Paddock Lake, Amain Apparel, and also making sure we got everybody. I think we do now. And Stars and Stripes Honor Flight 2. They also go out of Mitchell Airport in Milwaukee. And you can talk to BJ Johnson at Wilmot Raceway. He went on that particular honor flight. He has information on that. And I, of course, have information on the Lake County honor flight. So I think we got everybody in there. We do want to send out, before I forget, so I don't forget, when you get older, you sometimes forget things. We've got a special birthday coming up this coming Monday, August the 19th. I'm not going to say how old she is. How young she is a better way to term it, because you don't do that about a lady. Joan Toft, longtime wife of the late Ray Toft. Ray, one of the founders of the bumper-to-bumper IRA sprint cars, well over 50 years ago, along with Whitey Harris and the late Junior Dodd. Joan is celebrating a birthday on Monday, August the 19th. So if you can drop her a note, or if you happen to see her in town, she still gets to town once in a while in Antioch, say hi and a happy birthday to Joan Toft. I love you, Joan. You and your husband, great supporters of me personally throughout my racing career, and appreciate that. And we're gonna surprise Joan. Kathy and I are gonna go visit Joan sometime real soon. She doesn't live very far from us. So happy birthday, Joan Toft. So now we are going to bring in the studio, out of the green room, our first guest is going to be Scott Carpenter. Scott Carpenter races one of the Bandits that races in his own series, the B&L Office Furniture, powered by American Tire and Auto Repair of Kenosha and Lindenhurst, Illinois, sponsoring the Bandit series this year. And Scott has provided a lot of excitement recently when he's been at the track, when he's been trying to race the number 47 car. But he says things are ready to go tomorrow. Is that the same 47 car? Oh, did we just lose him? Where did you go there, Scott? And now he's back. And this is a classic. Usually knocking down the B&L Office Furniture sign. Now he knocks down the camera. Now I don't feel so bad if I ever knock that sign down again. Notice I don't even have it on here tonight, Scott. We're just giving you the scroll, So, but welcome to the program. Appreciate your support of the program, and appreciate your support. I know the Bandit drivers in Wilmot Raceway appreciate your support. And tell us what's up for Scott Carpenter. Yes, you're going to race tonight at Wilmot Raceway during the fair, and I know you're looking forward to it.
Oh, I am looking forward to it, Mike. As you remember, started off as it got really bad. Fireworks show, and I brought my own fireworks. And yeah.
Yeah, you seem to be breaking up. I know you tried going in the shop, and I don't know if that's making it worse or not. I don't know if you want to go back outside. We could pull you off, and we can fill. Scott also does some trackside broadcasting with me at the racetrack from time to time. There we're watching Scott literally walk. And now, see, you move over to one side or the other, and we'll get the B&L Office Furniture logo in there really good now, Scott. Can you hear us all right now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me okay, Mike?
Yep, we can hear you okay, and I think we're a little better. You don't seem to be breaking up now that you're outside.
Okay. Well, we'll give it a try.
Go ahead. Tell us again
Yeah, so
about the
we had
fireworks
the
night.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So brought the car out and end up blowing up a motor. Like just a few laps into the race, and
But wait a minute. Now you're kind of downplaying it. I mean, you went up in flames down the back straightaway. You didn't just blow up a motor. You had flames. You had early fireworks for everybody.
yeah, there's actually a picture that one of the girls who comes out and does videotaping for us. She showed me on her phone a pic, like a still frame of it. And Mike, I'm not kidding you. I can see why my wife was really shaken up by it. It had to be a 10 to 15-foot flame from the front of the car all the way out the back. I had no idea that it was that big. But yeah, that I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, the rocket cars, those are supposed to be at Great Lakes Dragaway, not at Wilmot going on around a third mile. So,
Yeah,
you survived that one,
exactly.
and then you got the car back together for Candy Drop Night, and appreciate your support of Candy Drop Night. We had a lot of fun. I guess it's almost 2 weeks ago now on Saturday night.
Yeah.
But mechanical woes struck you again. What happened that night?
One steam decided to back out tight enough, or it just hit. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I don't know if it's because
Okay.
you're moving or the camera's moving or what. There you go.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. It's the
Okay, now you're froze.
laps to go. Oh, let me know when I free up.
Okay, now you freed up a little bit over that way. And I wonder if we should just try you shutting off your camera and just try it with audio.
Yeah, I could do that. Let's see. Do I hit that camera button on the bottom? Last time I hit a button, I lost you.
Yeah, just hit the camera button.
There you go.
Now try talking. You there?
Does that work?
Oh, you sound a lot clearer. Go ahead. Let's try that. Okay. Everybody saw your
right.
face made for radio.
Yeah, that's what my mom always said.
So yeah, now we're back to the Candy Drop Night.
Yeah, so back to Candy Drop Night. We go out. I start in like second row outside, and I'm thinking this is going to be good, and come out, get 4 laps into it, not realizing that a bolt had backed out of the water pump at this time and drained all the water out of the engine. Ended up overheating, for about a minute and a half, but 6,000 RPM, and blew a head gasket. So it wasn't racing the feature that night, and brought it home and had to take it all apart again and put a new head gasket in. And finally, last night, got it started, and it's alive, and it's ready to go.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. So we'll be looking forward to seeing the number 47 out at Wilmot tonight, at Wilmot Raceway, opening night of the Kenosha County Fair. That's always a lot of fun. And, the fair is just fun. And it's really even extra fun tonight because the fans get into the grandstand to watch the racing at no additional charge. They just pay to get into the fair, and they get to come to the races. Grandstands will still be getting open about 5 o'clock, and we're planning on starting racing between 6:30, 6:45 right in there. We've got, as I mentioned earlier, the Wing 604 crate wing sprint cars, the IMCA modifieds, the unified street stocks, and the bandits. So we got a 4-division show, and it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. How many fair races have you raced at now, Scott?
I think this will be my 6th one. I think this will be number 6. Yeah.
And I don't want to jinx you, but what's the best finish you've had so far on a fair night?
Oh man, on a fair night, maybe fifth. I think I had a couple of fifth finishes last year, and one of them may have been the fair, fifth or sixth, but that's probably about the best I've had.
Okay. Well, I know you had a special. You weren't upset that we had a weekend off last weekend because your better half, Michelle, celebrated a birthday. We just wished a happy birthday to Joan Toft that's coming up next Monday. But your wife had a birthday last weekend, and I actually got a very excited text today from Mia Piccolo, who's going to be doing some announcing with us on Saturday night at Wilmot, and does announce from time to time with us at Wilmot Raceway. She works at a hair salon studio, and she said your wife came into the studio. And
no.
She was just all excited. She goes, B&L Office Furniture, they came into my studio. The picture they had on Facebook was from my studio.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow, I have to let Michelle know. I don't know if she knew that.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. So maybe, well, me, unfortunately, because she's got to work at the studio tomorrow, she can't come to the races. Otherwise, I was going to say maybe if you win the feature tomorrow night, Mia could interview you.
Right.
But you may have to settle for me.
Anybody else you put into the winner's circle for me to be there.
All right. Well, we know you still got a few things to tidy up to get ready for racing tonight at Wilmot, and I know you're going to be excited to see the fans out there, and then you'll probably come back on Saturday night for the all sprint car show. And then truck and tractor pulls Thursday night, truck and tractor pulls Friday night. Friday night, both nights they're going to have combine demolition derby. And then Friday night also fireworks after the races and the derby are done, after the pulls and the derby are done. And then Sunday, of course, the International Demolition Derby. I think it gets started about 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. So a lot of activity going on at the Kenosha County Fair. The Fair Board's been doing a great job preparing the facility. That's why we didn't race last weekend, so they could do extra preparing and getting buildings ready and everything else ready. And, everybody's excited about the fair and looking forward to it. Besides your wife, Michelle, and besides B&L Office Furniture, who else puts you on the racetrack each and every week, Scott?
Well, Tim over at Great American Tire and Auto Repair in Kenosha, he does a great job. He helps me out tremendously.
Don't forget about the one in Lindenhurst too.
Yeah, and Lindenhurst. Yep. Those guys, they're great, and if they're just awesome. I need something, I get a hold of him. He helps me get through the pinches. Ooh, mosquitoes. Another one is Paul over at Luisa's Pizza. Great.
And you can get Luisa's Pizza in the pits at Wilmot.
Yeah, I always do. I keep telling Paul, I need to know when you're coming out there with the truck so we can get a picture of your truck with my car together.
There you go.
Yep. And Luisa's Pizza, awesome pizza. Always been a favorite of mine. I've known Paul for quite a few years. And gosh, man, I don't want to age myself, but I think I've probably known Paul and I've been friends for, maybe 30 years. It's been quite a while.
and I think we were talking off, Mike.
Yeah,
I mean, you know some of the UTECs too.
Yeah. Scott Utech and I were old buddies from hanging out back before we had families and kids, and see his daughter go out and win. Grab that win in her car for the first win. Right. So that was just awesome. I bet, that's one proud papa right there.
That's for sure. And anybody else on the 47?
At the moment, no. But if some people want to help out, there's always room for more.
Yeah, they can stop by and see you in the pits. And I know you like to visit with the kids and everything in the pits. Oh, yeah. And during the fair, it's even a little more special because a lot of people do stop by in the pits after the races. A lot of people, take off the week. A lot of the kids in the Kenosha area aren't back in school together yet like they are here in Illinois. So Again, that's tonight. Racing right about between 6:30, 6:45. We're going to get going. And you can watch that Bandit number 47 and the B&L Office Furniture presented by American Tire and Auto Repair of Kenosha and Lindenhurst series. Have some fun during the fair. So, Scott, thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks a lot for your support of the show, providing my set, and also your support of the candy drop and the series as well. You're definitely a supporter of motorsports in the area and at Wilmot Raceway, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Mike. Proud to be a part of it.
All righty. We'll see you tonight.
Sounds great. We'll see you.
Bye-bye. And that's Scott Carpenter joining us, and he will be racing at Wilmot Raceway tonight, opening night of the Kenosha County Fair in the Bandit number 47. Now, shifting gears, we're going to talk with John from Great Lakes Dragaway. And John, one of the Brew City Gassers crew up there at Great Lakes Dragaway. Yep, you can go there. It's right up there on the screen. Go to greatLakesDragaway.com, get all the information. They've got a great young man that's doing a super job with social media and keeps that website updated. But John and Kathy and I took a busman's holiday and came up for a little while on Saturday. A great night. We even got to talk to the Red Baron. That's one of your announcers. And he was very cordial with us, and as always. And we talked with Randy, and I hadn't seen him probably for I don't know how many years. We ran into Marcel and chatted with him a little bit about the old days at Lakehurst Mall with Broadway Bob and the Great Lakes Dragaway's involvement there. So had a great trip on Saturday. Enjoyed some great racing and tell the folks a little bit about how you did on Saturday at Great Lakes Dragaway. And, of course, tonight at Great Lakes Dragaway, it's ladies' night. Ladies get in for free. Ladies get to race for free. And tell everybody a little bit about your day, though, at Great Lakes Dragaway last weekend and what you got coming up.
Well, it was really a good week. Actually, it started on with the test and tune on last Thursday. We had a lot of cars that were coming in to test for the weekend. There was Wisconsin Outlaw Street it was a killer program. We had some really, really fast cars there. They were doing the testing on Friday with a professionally prepped track from Total Menu Concepts. Stick shift cars. We had a $15,000 stick shift challenge. There was one guy in testing that they ran full quarter mile. He ran a 686, I believe, at 208 miles an hour, shifting gears with an H pattern 4-speed shifter. And then Saturday, the program was just awesome. 37 to 39 cars, I believe, in the Outlaw Street, and then about 10 or 15 in the Unlimited, and then another 30 some in the stick shift program. And then we ran our group, Brew City Gassers, along with Nostalgia Pro Stocks and Pro 85, X85. We got a couple passes in. I did good on my first pass, ran my number that I wanted to, but unfortunately, the second pass I shifted from second to third gear and lost the input shaft in the front drum of the Turbo 400 there. It kind of stripped out. That was my backup transmission. It had a stock input shaft and stock forward drum, and it stripped the spline out on it. So I coasted through it at 12 second at 53 miles an hour, but didn't make a mess on the track, got off the track, and it's fixed now. The other new and improved transmission that I had in there that I broke previously is in, and now I've got the parts showing up tomorrow to fix the other one. But it was a great event. And then Sunday we had Larry's Fun Fest. There was another huge crowd, a ton of spectators on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was probably the busiest 3 days that we've had all year so far as spectators and racers.
Well, and the weather was just perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
For almost the middle of August, it was not like the middle of August. It was almost like the middle of September. The temperatures were a little bit cooler. It was funny because Kathy and I got home later and we looked at each other and we're like, why are we so red? And it was like, well, we were out in the sun, but you didn't feel it. You weren't getting hot. You weren't sweating like crazy. It was just really an enjoyable time. You just talked about the shifting, and I know you had the shifters there that were running for, I believe, if I heard Red Baron and Mike correctly on the microphone, it was like $15,000 to win.
Yes. Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
And they had, it was like a weekend series. They started with running times on Friday night, and then they ran times like when we saw them do their first pass on Saturday, which was a little bit after noon. And then I think they were going to have at least one more, maybe two more passes later in the day and again in the evening. And
the program ran all the way through. I think for the final, it ran probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock at night before we finally got to the final. And with that cool air made a lot of horsepower. The one guy in the Outlaw Street, the Unlimited class, he ran 4.006 seconds in the 8th mile at 208 or 209 miles an hour. And that's doing it on a smaller drag radial tire, not a big, huge slick. It was really impressive. I hear for the next race, that's going to be, I believe, on September 14th. The next last one for the Wisconsin Outlaw Street, they say it's $1,000 to the first guy that goes $399. First guy to go below 4 seconds in the 8th mile, he gets $1,000 bonus during qualifying or racing. So that's a really, really exciting event because it's heads up, clocks are on, and those cars are so close next to each other. It's you got to watch them all the way to the finish line. It was a really great turnout. We had fun racing in the event and just spectating too when we weren't racing. And it was nice to see the stands packed with spectators. It was a really good event.
Yeah, well, and Kathy and I got there a little early. We were there right around 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, and things were just getting started. We actually listened in a little bit to the Outlaws drivers meeting. And one thing they were talking about, which maybe you can explain a little bit, because, again, we have a mixture of people that tune into the program. I think we're going to get more drag racing people because we have you on and we have Great Lakes involved and we have the Red Baron and Mike, announcing that we're on, and we've got a sign up at the track and that. But they were talking about that there was going to be a breakout, and it was based on their early qualifying runs. And then they were adding, if I remember right, like another 4/10 to that. And that was going to become the breakout. So maybe you could explain that to folks like me that don't really understand. I understand a breakout, but I don't understand how they came up with that magic number of adding the 4/10.
Yeah, I guess the reason they do that is basically that's trying to keep everybody so they run pretty much balls out right to what their car will run. They didn't want to have it where somebody's holding back, let's say, and they have the qualifying time at, say, 4.5 seconds, when the car in reality may go 4 seconds like the one guy did. And then when he goes to race, he gets put up against somebody that's running 4.5 seconds, and he can just get past them and go a little bit quicker and win the race. So they're saying, okay, we're going to take the low qualifier, the quickest qualifier, and if you go quicker than 4/10 from what that qualifier did, you went too fast. Your car, you were sandbagging it a little bit when you were doing the qualifying. So kind of keep people from doing that. So it's a good heads up, honest race where people aren't, have a little bit left in the tank and think that they can get it. So that's kind of how that rule went. And, it is kind of challenging too, because as the night goes on and the weather gets a little bit cooler and the track temperature goes down a little bit, and if the cars are making a little bit more horsepower, they may actually have to pull a little power out of them, so they don't do that breakout if they're that close. But it did work out okay. Nobody that 4/10 of a second seemed to work pretty good. Everybody stayed within that frame, the ET frame, and it worked out great.
Now, yourself, the Brew City Gassers, do you guys use any similar system like that, or do you just go straight up by times?
We go what we do basically is we go like A gas, B gas, C gas, like they used to do back in the day, and we divide the cars up. Anything that's quicker than 10 seconds will go into A gas range, and like 10 to 11 will be B gas, and then C gas will be 11 seconds and slower. And then what we'll do is amongst ourselves, we'll match up the two cars that are like me and my one buddy Ron Green. He's got this little Almquist Sabre, and he's got a Crosley that's both of them got blown small blocks in it. I mean, when I raced at Almquist Sabre, we were running at a quarter mile, and we were literally half a mile an hour within each other, and the ETs were within like a tenth or so. It was heads up racing, and a couple of races we didn't know who won until we saw the light come on in the finish line. We're right next to each other, so we try to match up the cars so it's a good matchup for the fans. We're basically doing it all for fun. ourselves. And then what we'll do is we'll sometimes say, hey, $50 for the best reaction time or whatever amongst our group. And then we'll kind of work it out that way. In October, we're going to do a race. We kind of do our Dragtober thing where it's going to be more of like a bracket race where we'll get together and everybody will throw some money in the pot and we'll do a little money race for everybody at the end of the year.
All righty. So, well, again, folks, that get you to the racetrack each and every week. And I know this week, I think you're not going to be at Great Lakes. You're going to be making a road trip, and tell folks where you'll be this weekend, and also what is coming up at Great Lakes this weekend. There's just a lot of stuff happening. We got the Kenosha County Fair. We're racing there, and 2 nights, and the Demo Derby and all that kind of stuff. But there's just plenty of stuff to do, and summer's winding down. The kids are going back to school pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna be racing down at US 41 drag strip in Morocco, Indiana. One of our club members, Mike Babicz, he's a crazy man. You might have seen some of the YouTube videos. He's got a green 56 Chevy that you can see kind of kiss the wall one time, but he puts it up on the back bumper and he does 300 and 400, 500 foot wheelies down the track. He's putting on a race. It's a great time. We just kind of go there. So we're going to be hanging out with him this weekend down there at Morocco. And then after that, we're going to come back and we got 1 weekend off, and then we end up with the Time Machine Nationals, which is going to be coming up. That's the big one on the Saturday for Labor Day. In between that, we have fun racing pretty much going on during the week. On the 18th, we have Import Wars that are going to be coming back where the import guys go. And interestingly enough, it was an import that won the Stick Shift Challenge. It was kind of an upset. I think it was all-wheel drive. I forget what it was, a smaller 4-cylinder that went like a 715 and had the upset and won the money. A couple of the imports won, the different classes for the stick shifts, which was, those cars fly. They're no joke. A couple of the guys that have some small Hondas there that, front wheel drive, it's kind of funny because they're really slow taking off, with their 60 foot time. But boy, the big mile an hour on the big end, they start charging once they get off the line. It's kind of crazy.
That's for sure.
Like I say, everything is winding down. We've got 1 weekend off. Our group, we've got 1 weekend off after this weekend, and then we're pretty much got 4 weekends in a row that we're still racing. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we're going to actually keep you on for at least a minute or two when we bring in our next guest, because we got talking off camera before the show began, and Bryce Andrews, who's one of our wingless competitors at Wilmot and with the Wisconsin Wingless Series, also does some drag racing as a crew member. And when we were talking, you guys, each other's people that race. So Bryce, welcome to the program. And let's start off by telling our viewers and our listeners out there who you crew for that John knows well.
I crew for the Pontillo family, Tony and Carla Pontillo. They race for the MSCS series, which is Midwest Super Comp. And, they're amazing people to work for. They both just won this past weekend out at Cordova. So each of them both got a win, and, they're leading in points. Tony's leading in points and Carla's in third, trying to hunt him down and hopefully have her win the championship.
Yeah, that's there. I've known Tony for years, and he owns Don's Machine Shop in Kenosha there. So he's great place to get stuff done and buy parts. And Tony's a good guy. So is Carla. It's just kind of neat that they're both racing. I saw on Facebook that she won, I believe, on was it Saturday, and then he won on Sunday. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're very Don's competitive.
Machine Shop is a supporter of Wilmot and of our racing at Wilmot. They've got a billboard out by our track, and I know they do work on Bryce's car. They do work on a lot of the cars, a lot of the wingless in particular. So, great supporters of racing, both kinds of racing. So, and like I keep saying, we can all just get along. I mean, we all get along fine. And hey, it's all horsepower. It's all racing. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, John, we appreciate you being on. We're going to kind of let you go. I mean, you're welcome to stay in the green room and continue to enjoy all the libations and snacks that we've got for you, and listen in on Bryce. And we've got Steve Sinclair that's going to join us in just a little bit. So again, John, welcome. And thank you for joining us each and every week. And we'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Sounds good. We'll see you guys. Have a good week. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Take care. God bless. Okay, now we are shifting gears again. We've got Bryce Andrews with us, and Bryce. First of all, let's give the folks a little update on what my wife Kathy and I, and you and your family did this last Sunday. It was a great event. I understand somebody said it was like, I don't know, 5th annual, 6th annual, something like that. But it was, Feck's Place, Mike Feck and the family just put on a great event for a great cause. So tell everybody a little bit about it.
Yeah, they got a annual pig roast that they do usually around this time, usually around August, and which is really nice of them. They kind of try to plan it, especially because of the fair. They usually try to plan it around that time because we're usually off of racing so that they can have our car there and everything else. But they put on this annual pig roast to help raise money for the Wounded Warriors. This year they were able to raise up, I think it was just a little over $15,000
Awesome.
to all these wounded vets and everything else, which is a very, very important thing, especially coming from a military family myself, my dad, my grandpa, and everybody else. So it's just an awesome thing, that they do, and the people that you get to meet and how everybody can come together, have some fun, and, live the American dream.
Yeah, and a beautiful location. I mean, and the weather couldn't have been more perfect. I mean, it was blue skies, and we're right on Lake Michigan, and
Yeah.
My wife Kathy and I, we took a walk along the beach for a while, and and she loves animals, and we got to meet a lot of people had their dogs down there, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, they used to put it on. They used to close the road down right in front of the bar that they have there, but then the city didn't like that anymore, so they moved it over to the Kemper Center. And my personal opinion, a lot of people's personal opinion, it worked out even better. They got easier parking. You're sitting out in the field and everything else. You're right on the water, so it makes for a nicer event.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, and it was fun. I mean, they had bags going on. They had a hula hoop contest. They had, some other things going on. And like you said, it was just a great event. And, I was actually glad I found it on your Facebook page. I happened to see it. And then we touched base, and I found out a little bit more. And I asked my wife, Kathy, I said, you want to take a ride down there? And, and we ended up staying. I'll admit we ended up staying a little bit longer than we had anticipated, but we really enjoyed it. It was a great event, and there was some indication that it might not happen again next year, but hopefully somebody's going to pick up the reins and run with it.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, you can pass the word on to Mike at Fex that. Kathy and I would be glad to be involved and help him with it in any way we can. I'm very close to the Lake County Honor Flight. I do a lot to help them. I'm sure there's something we could work out, and I'd be glad to help him in any way possible to promote it and put the event on for him.
Yeah, definitely let him know.
So now let's talk about your racing. You had 2 cars sitting there. And I did ask you, I said, well, are both of these able to race at Wilmot? And you're like, well, not really. One's got the crate motor in it, and the other's got a 410 motor for the 410 shows. So tell the folks a little bit about your race team and how the season's been going, and what your plans are for the rest of the year.
Yeah, this year kind of kept flowing. We started out we were just going to race, the Wisconsin Wingless Series as we normally do. And, some of my sponsors came together like, well, what can we do to help you even more? And I was like, well, we can start the season even earlier and end it even earlier. We go down to Indiana and start racing. They were like, well, let's make that happen. So, before we knew it, we were building 2 cars, and, we were able to get a decent 410. It's definitely not no high roller, ones that the IRA guys use, but it's enough to, feel the difference, enough to be just a little competitive down in Indiana, but definitely still a learning experience. That's for sure. So we started the season down there with the other car and, learning, how much power that 410's got and learning setups and everything else, which I would say has helped me definitely in the crate series as well. We've had 3 top 5 finishes in a row now, and it's definitely getting better. I'm hopefully just trying to lock in that feature win this season. And
you came close the last time we ran. I mean, it was there was going to be a party in somewhere in the pits on that night. I mean, between you and Trinity UTEC, you guys put on a great race, and then at the end, the old KG veteran comes out of nowhere, Tim Cox, and it's like, okay, you all waited long enough for me. I'm coming, and he got up there and finished second. But tell us a little bit about the run. Well, it's about 10 days ago now, and how that went, and what it was like to be out there on the track.
To be honest with you, I didn't believe it till I saw it on YouTube. People were telling me I had such a lead. As they were going into 1, I was coming into 3, and I was like, no, I was like, you guys are full of it. And I'm telling you, and I was like, I didn't know. I just had my foot on the throttle and was just hoping for the best and just trying to wait for those checkered flags to come out. But I'm got very, very lucky a couple times. There was, yellow came out, unfortunately, and got into 1, and, I misread my mark and biked the car a little bit, but, second and third place got me, dropped me back up, but yellow came back out, and, I was able to get my spot back, and I definitely learned, okay, don't misread my mark, and I was able to keep that momentum back up all the way up to the very last lap, to the very last corner, unfortunately. So, but, it's the car's there, the speed's there. It's just hopefully, we can dial, my skill, try not to get a little too crazy, a little too wild, and reel it back in a little bit to hopefully knock in some feature wins the rest of the season that we got coming up here.
Well, and of course, Saturday night, the fair night's always a big night at Wilmot. It's always a very special night for the drivers, for the announcers, for everybody, because the stands are usually packed.
Oh, yeah.
And the neat thing about the fair, I always say, and I've been around Wilmot a long time, is the crowd you get during the fair is new. It's new people that are coming and seeing the races, many of them for the first time ever. And, and that's going to be the case tonight with the Bandits and the 604 Wings and the street stocks and the mods. And that's going to be the case again Saturday with the all IRA show, the 410 wing cars at their original home track, the wingless and the lightnings. Your thoughts, does the big crowd affect you either way? Does it make you more nervous because you're in front of so many people, or do you try to tune it out and just focus on your driving?
Personally, I try to tune it out as much as I can. I like to say I'm pretty good at it. Obviously, if there's a fan that comes up to me and wants to talk, of course I'm gonna talk to them. But most of the time, once that helmet's on and that visor goes down, there's nothing more that I'm thinking about than how to get around the guy in front of me. So.
Well, we obviously know Fex Place and Don's Machine Shop are sponsors of your car. Other people that help get you to the racetrack and will help get you to the racetrack this Saturday, and maybe to Victory Lane. You never know.
That's always the goal. But obviously, like we said, Don's Machine Shop is a huge supporter of mine. They're one of our big sponsors this season, and hopefully for many years. But along with Kenosha Starter and Alternator, Josh Martin Roofing, Roadside Auto Truck Transport, PAB Collision Repair, Fex Place, Midwest CBD at Kenosha Injection Bar, Team MSR, Elite Tool Sales, Bennick Enterprises, and DRC Chassis.
There you go. And I know there's people that you want to thank that are working on your crew, working on your car, keep you fed. all that good stuff.
Yeah, I owe it all to my dad. If it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't be, in the situation I'm in. Along with my grandpa and Tony and Carla Pontillo, they play a huge part in my role. Not just so much as a sponsorship, but just everything that they do outside of that to keep me rolling and everything else. Ryan Marshall, another racer, he helps me a lot, teaches me a lot, helps me with setups and everything else. And it's a great thing, how people, can come together and, help teach you. And the way that they say how much my driving's improved and over the years. And now I'm trying to win some features and lock in a championship, sitting second in points for the Wilmot series and, trying to win that championship.
Well, we wish you the best. And you did mention Ryan Marshall and the Kansasville Comet announcing last week that he has decided for health reasons that he is no longer going to race. And that's definitely a hard decision for him, and also Eddie and Debbie Boyd, his car owners as well. But, health is the most important thing. And I'm sure we're going to see Ryan around the racetrack more. And who knows, maybe he's going to be in your pit a little bit more because he won't have his own car to worry about and his own racing to worry about. I'm even going to see if I can reach out to him, and once he's comfortable and that, maybe seeing if he wants to join me on the mic at the track too. I think he can give a lot of insight in what's going on out on the racetrack. So our best to Ryan, and I know he's going to do well, and whatever he ends up doing, I'm sure he's going to stay involved in racing.
Of course, yeah.
So, well, we appreciate you coming on with us. If you want to stay on for about a minute or two, we're going to bring somebody in that knows a little bit of something about the Wingless Series, and maybe I'll start off by talking to him about the Wingless Series. Steve Sinclair, who is the head of the bumper-to-bumper IRA Outlaw Sprint Cars and the IRA in general, and founded the Wingless Series through his efforts 10, how many years ago now, Steve?
I think this is the 9th season. Does that sound about right, Bryce?
Yep.
So now, Steve, you've seen a lot of race car drivers in your time around racing, between when you worked with your dad and with the IRA now. What about Bryce? Where do you see him heading? Put you on the spot just a little bit.
He gasses it up, and I know last year, he had some misfortune where he had to rebuild a few cars, and I just think the effort they put forth demonstrated to me that they're in this for the long run, and they're pretty dedicated. And going like he put the 410 together, he's trying to get extra laps, going other places, and that's all good. That's all good. And he probably hated to see yellow flags his last race because he was checked out. Like to me, I was watching it. I was watching a video that he had about a half a lap lead at one point.
Yes.
So, it's coming. That first one's coming. And once you get the first one, the second one's a little easier.
There you go. So, well, Bryce, anything you want to say to Steve, now, and then we're going to let you go. I mean, again, you're welcome to hang out in the green room and enjoy all the libations and all the snacks that we got for you.
Right.
But otherwise, we obviously will see you at the races on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll definitely see you Saturday. Just, want to thank Steve for everything that he does for our series and all the, fortunes that I get to see week in and week out, and the support, from him and the IRA, the text messages, in and out throughout the week, checking up, see how things are going. It means a lot as a racer to know that officials and that are there for you and rooting for you.
Bryce, how old are you?
19.
19. Wow.
Yeah, I graduated
high school. I thought you were older than that, so that blows me away.
But he confessed to me at FEX fundraiser. He turned.
He's not even old enough to be in there.
He turned 14 twice. Was that the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, he turned 14 twice so that he could race. So
he's doing very well.
All right.
Looking car too. Nice looking piece. I like the ride.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll see the number 17 on Saturday night at Wilmot, and maybe that first one will come on a fair night. That would be pretty cool.
That would be awesome.
All right. Thanks again, Bryce. Say hi to the family for me.
Thank you.
Okay. That was Bryce Andrews, driver number 17 wingless, and now he's relaxing in his easy chair there after a long week.
It was a long week.
Well, let's start off with the Knoxville report first, and then we'll talk about what's coming up at Wilmot and with the IRA the rest of the season.
So Knoxville actually started back before the 360 Nationals ever even started. So that was 2 weeks ago. So we the Tennyson, Tom and Garrett run the T-shirt trailer. So I drove all the way out to Knoxville, parked the trailer on I forget what it was, a Tuesday or a Wednesday, whatever. Turned around, had lunch at Knoxville, and drove all the way home. That was 11 hours on the road just to get that thing parked. But it's so cool because we have a presence throughout the entire 360 and 410 Nationals. IRA's got a presence, and that's a big deal. So did that, then went back, starting on Sunday for the Capitani Classic. Then myself and a lot of IRA officials, and we've been doing it for over 20 years, we kind of helped Terry McCarl with his front row challenge in Oskaloosa, which is about 30 minutes away from Knoxville. And been doing that race for a long time. Mike Hess from High Limit helps us out with that as well. And that's a pretty neat deal. Pretty proud to be a part of that. And then let's see, Tuesday is just kind of a fun day when you're down at Knoxville. It's an off day. They have a party in the streets in the town square. And you get to just hang out with a bunch of, it's neat. I hung out with Dave Argerbright, Steve Beitler, Kenny Jacobs, on and on and on and on. It's just a great, great day. Chuck Sinks from Sage Fruit is our Sage Fruit rep. And we just have a great time. End up at the Dingus Lounge. You got to go to the Dingus if you're in Knoxville. And I saw Matt Vanderveer and Tim Anderson and, John Palmer and a bunch of guys hanging out at the Dingus. Chris Dodd. And that's all good. We all hung out Tuesday night. And then Wednesday, National start. But we're involved in some other stuff there too. So I was involved in the State of the Union, they call it. It's at the Hall of Fame. Been speaking at that. Been on a panel with Doug Johnson, who's a GM for Huset's and Jackson Motorplex. Jason Reed, the Fair Board president at Knoxville. Mike Hess from High Limit. And it's emceed by Larry Bowes, who's been at longtime Eldora manager. And now he promotes Winchester, Indiana, and Waynesfield, Ohio. So that's pretty neat. That's, it's a fan forum deal at the Hall of Fame. It's question and answer, and it's pretty fun. Been doing that. Probably done that about a dozen times now. And then what's really cool is that during the Nationals, they have a sprint council meeting. And I think, IRA is probably, next to that, in World of Outlaws and High Limit, it's us in there. There's nobody else. There's some car owners, on the Outlaw Tour and High Limit Tour that have, a lot of experience and know-how, and, things come up. What's, what from a part standpoint, what can they do to fix a few things? What can they do to make things better? And also keeping an eye on cost. But I'm really proud to be, I've been at every one of those, and there's not many small regional series that are invited. And I also learned, IRA's got a great infrastructure. We are blessed to have the amount of staff that we do. I hear horror stories from some other series, where they just don't. There's no uniformity because they have only got one or two people traveling from event to event. Hell, I heard Ohio Speed Week never teched or weighed a car in 9 days of racing, and had a different person calling the shots every night. So it just makes me even more proud of what we've got with IRA. And then the fact that Knoxville, it's a World of Outlaw and Knoxville event. Both officials are involved, and the only two people that aren't from Knoxville or the World of Outlaws were myself, and I'm up in the tower with the World of Outlaw officials in race control, and then Cody Tennyson, or Dakota, is what most people know him by, works for my race pass, and he was on the scoring side. So we're the only non-2 Knoxville World of Outlaw employees that work at the Nationals, and I'm pretty damn proud of that.
Well, and you should be, and Knoxville is, if people have not been to Knoxville, you got to put it on your bucket list. You got to go at least once. Don't go for one day, because one day's you're not gonna get everything that you need to get in one day. It just ain't gonna happen.
They had record crowds. Wednesday was a record crowd for a Wednesday, Thursday for a Thursday, and so on. Saturday was a sellout, and they even had to stop selling pit passes at some point Saturday, because it was just, they were concerned it was going to get dangerous in the pit area. There was just too many people.
And the 50-50 was like the 50-50 was like $56,000 or something.
I didn't even buy a ticket. There's just so much going on. I didn't even have a chance to even do stuff like that. I've actually got to make more time, and maybe not stay up so late, and get up in the morning and do some other things. But we were involved at the Hall of Fame auction. Sammy Swindell and I were involved in a piece that was one of his driving suits when Hoff Farms sponsored it. And that was the Hall of Fame was gracious enough to allow us to have that as part of it's not a raffle, just auction. It's part of the auction to raise money for Stacy Hoff. Mm-hmm. And that was very cool. And was even cooler was the gentleman that actually put the high bid in for that of over $5,500 was Leighton Crouch, who was Brenham Crouch's dad. And Brenham won the Hoff Farms Bull Ring Showdown last year championship, and the money Leighton put down on that suit was more than the team won. So he's a class act, and I've met a lot of cool people in the sport, and he will go down as one of the classiest I've met. That's pretty cool.
Well, and Brenham,
and I gotta congratulate Bill Baylog on. To my knowledge, he's the first Wisconsin driver that I'm aware of. Definitely the first IRA driver, IRA champ, Wilmot champ, to ever make the A main at the Knoxville Nationals, and I couldn't have been more proud.
Yeah, that was neat to see, and then that was neat to monitor, and that on Saturday night for a while he was running early in the top 10. From that 13th starting spot. And then I don't know if something went wrong with the car or what, but still, just to make that show, how many cars they have this year, Steve? 76?
Oh, no, that was over 100. They had over 100. So, for him to make that, and there's a lot of, outlaw and high limit regulars that didn't make it. So, great for Bill. Just starting that A main paid him more than anything he's ever made in a single race day before. More than any win he ever had. Just starting it was $15,000 just to start. So then that doesn't count the prize money he made on his prelim night and stuff either. So he had a great week. I'm glad just to see it roll in the trailer. He had a big smile on his face. He got to be part of they do a fan drivers meeting where the public's invited to, and they have a marching band, led all the drivers into one of the arenas on the fairgrounds, and it was really cool. I want to say, during driver intros, I would say Bill had about the fourth loudest applause of everybody. Sheldon Hounschild always gets a lot, and Rico, of course, Kyle Larson, and then Bill was right there. So I felt great for him. Good deal.
Well, that's awesome. And the reigning Wilmot champ and a 10-time IRA champ. So that is pretty cool. Now, we don't have a lot of time left, but we do want you to touch on, of course, we got the full IRA show this coming Saturday at Wilmot on the Saturday night of the fair. The Roger Isles tribute. Tell the folks a little bit about Saturday night's show, and then what you got coming up, kind of in a nutshell, a couple of the highlighted events the rest of the season.
Well, obviously, Saturday night at the fair is always a big deal for us, and we're very honored to do that. We get to run a few other county fairs too. We do Outagamie, Sheboygan. We used to do Langlade, and we get to do Corn Fest at Sun Prairie, which is like a county fair in a sense. It's like a city fair. And having the combination of the Kenosha County Fair and Corn Fest on the same weekend is great. And I expect some out-of-towners to come and join us. I'd be very surprised if we didn't get some out-of-towners. But we got a great point battle going on with Scotty Thiel and Jake Blackhurst, to name a few. And a really good battle from 3rd through 6th. I mean, that's really tight. If anybody has a chance, they should look at that. That's pretty cool. And I'm looking forward to a great weekend. And hopefully everybody has a good time. And fair race is always fun, seeing the amusement rides in the background and hearing the music and stuff. And hopefully it all goes well.
And, of course, on the program as well are the wingless sprints and the lightning sprints. So an all sprint car show. The grandstands are going to open at 5. I understand we're going to try to get racing going 6:45-ish. Somewhere in that neighborhood is the time that I was given. So we'll be looking forward to that on Saturday. And then that is the last scheduled appearance of the Bumper to Bumper IRA at the original home, where it all began, Steve, where it all started when neither of us.
When me and you were younger. When me and you were a lot younger.
Yeah, that was well over 50 years when Ray and Whitey.
Having an all IRA show. Yep. Having an all IRA shows, it means a lot to me. And the Wingless got a great deal going. They've been putting on some great races, and they got a good point battle going on as well. And then real quick on the lightning sprints, Mike New messaged me this week, and he was so excited. It's pretty cool to see a fellow racer excited for another young fellow racer. And Brian Strain Jr. Was the point champion in Lightning Sprint Nationals up north, and actually ran at a few of the tracks that we just ran with the 410s in Minnesota and North Dakota. So congratulations to him. And it's going to be a three sprint car divisions. It's a big deal for us.
And Brian's going to be on next week's Let's Go Racing Motorsports Report. He declined to be on today because they were working on the car to get it ready to race the wing car tonight with the 604 crates at Wilmot. So he said he'd be more than happy to come on next week, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to him about another win. He's 5 for 5 at Wilmot in the Lightnings. Nobody else has won a feature at Wilmot in the Lightning this year.
I think he won at Sycamore and maybe a Plymouth too. So he's having a hell of a year.
Yep, that's for sure. So, well, Steve, it's always good chatting with you. Always good to see you. I'll be looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. We can have a ear of corn before we both go to work for the evening. And I'm looking forward to a lot of fun. And later on, we'll announce it now. We're looking for two more people to do it with us. Steve and I are going to golf in the Southeastern Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame's golf outing coming up sometime in September, I think it is. Yep. But we're looking for 2 other golfers to join us. So, and we like good handicaps because Steve and I aren't good handicaps.
Well, I live on a golf course. I should be better than I am, but I suppose I actually have to go do it once in a while. I actually went with my son yesterday, so we're starting to swing a few clubs, and we'll be ready to go by then.
All right, sounds good. Thanks again, Steve, and always great to see you, and we'll look forward to seeing you and working with you on Saturday at Wilmot.
Very good. Thank you.
And again, that was Steve Sinclair joining us, and that's going to wrap up this week's program. Again, yes, we are racing tonight at Wilmot Raceway, opening night of the Kenosha County Fair, 604 wings sprint cars, also the Bandits, the Street Stocks, and the Modifieds. Saturday, all IRA show, lightning sprints, wingless sprints, and the 410 sprint cars on Saturday night. And make sure you go to KenoshaCoFair.com for all kinds of information on the Kenosha County Fair And you can also go to WilmotRaceway.com for information on the Wilmot Raceway. Again, tonight's racing program in front of the grandstands is free, no additional admission charge for the grandstands tonight. And you just pay to get in the fair, and you get to come to the races tonight at Wilmot Raceway for free. So until we see you next time, this is Mike Babicz wishing you a pleasant evening, the best of tomorrows. Remember, kids, just say no to drugs. Thanks, good night, God bless, and let's go racing, everybody. We'll see you at the fair.
Thank you.